gonna
And
do this.
boom, I believe we're set. So let's do this from the beginning. That should do it. That's better. I completely forgot to do this the first couple of days. So let's get through this. Let's do a real quick review to start. And if anybody has questions as we go through the review, this is a great time to do it. I've got some time today. I'm also going to open up one more day. I'm going to open up one more day tomorrow at 5 p.m. So if anybody listens to this later today, or if you guys are following along today, and you want some time to just ask questions and make sure you got it all, I'm going to open up some time tomorrow at 5 p.m. But let's go through a really quick summary of what we've accomplished so far. And again, using the metaphor of climbing a mountain from the code, and you guys can hear me. Can I just have you guys confirm that you can hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So from the code, that work was probably the biggest work that we do, is laying down the foundation of telling the truth about the facts in our body, our fulfillment, our relationships, and our business and money. That is going to form the work that we're going to do today in both creating the weekly work and the work that we do to set ourselves up for 90-day challenges, or what I like to call the summit attempt. The engine is working on creating your daily habits across all those areas. And again, I've said this several times. It seems so simple to say it, but many of us have habits for our body. Many of us have habits for our business. Many of us have habits for fulfillment or relationships, but we often focus on one area versus the other. And we all know that when one area does not do so well, the others have a tendency to fall down. So the engine is really our foundational habits. And yes, these are daily habits. The day that we say no to them, the others start to weaken and our foundation crumbles. So the trick is setting up your daily habits. And yes, Sherry, part of the daily habits was the 30-day health habit challenge, where we set up body habits. The difference really is the engine sets them up for all four. And it feels a little bit more complex and a little bit more to it. But when you get them rolling, it's fantastic. So the core four is something that I do on a daily basis, but the week before. So today I will be setting up what I call my general tent, or I will be setting up my week, and I will be strategizing and planning when I get all those things done. Again, just like dates, I don't want to have to think about where I'm going for dinner, where I'm going on my date, what I'm doing on my date, the day of or the day before. That's just work. That's just adding more work. What I want to do is I want to plan it out, and I want to just go and execute. We all know that the more organized we can get around these things, the easier it becomes, the more traction we get in life. And that's why we call this the engine. And I'll show you how to strategize that today. The fuel is absolutely necessary in order for really staying focused on the summit attempt. So when we are kind of gray around our three to five most personal key values and the mission that we're on, it becomes easy to sedate or search for immediate gratification that helps to acquire things like dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, endorphin, and we get focused on those things that immediately feel good, because that long-term gratification is really, really unclear. So the lens for making decisions as to whether we do things yes or no is really defined on that. So for those of you that have made it through that work, congratulations. It will serve you, and it is necessary to do that work in order to use the Sherpa tool called the Patriot Missile Game. So the Sherpa, again, the analogy is that many of us make it to the top of Mount Everest, to the top of a mountain all alone, but not as many do without a Sherpa, without tools that help to keep us safe and on point and redirected and really, really focused on what it is that we need to do. And yes, the app glitched on me this week. I messed up with communicating to the developers some information. So I'm hoping that it will be ready by Monday or Tuesday so that you guys can give it a shot. If you haven't already, the Patriot Missile Game questions are in that webinar. I encourage everyone, and that was part of the homework, was to go through that exercise. Day 5, the base camp. Base camp is our weekly habit, essentially weekly relationship habits with our partner, significant other, spouse, if applicable, our children, if applicable, and with ourselves. It's how we fill our cup back up. And again, I want you to consider that it is our teams in life that help us push to the next level, which also correlates very well to the drift because, again, the mountain metaphor is as we're climbing up a mountain, it becomes easy in a long, focused exercise. It becomes easy to drift off course. It becomes easy to get knocked off course. People, places, and things like to kick us in the butt. And the drift really deals with the other teams in our life, the partners, coaches, mentors, and accountability teams that help us make sure that we make it to the summit. Yesterday I went through that really briefly, and ultimately there's 3 options for anybody that doesn't want to do this freedom formula on your own, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, particularly tomorrow. So if you're sitting there wondering, yes, I really want to apply all this information. I don't want to sit and fall flat, and then a week from now completely forget it, not use it, not use the power of this information. The 3 main options again are do an event. The experiences are absolutely mind-boggling. We have one that is not available to anybody in this group that is coming up next week here in Victoria, which is a combined men and women of iron. We have a women of iron at the end of January in Texas. We're looking at combining right now, it's just a men of iron, but right now we're looking at combining a men and women of iron in Denver in April. And then we're also looking at our first Thailand event. And again, these aren't mandatory things. This is, if you feel like you are completely ready for the full enchilada and want to have the experience of what it is that we put together, you're more than welcome to consider a men or women of iron event. For those of you that don't feel like you really want that experience, but you want to just sit down and start working hard, awesome. I do some one-on-one coaching, and it's a little bit more time consuming for me, but I understand if the introvert in you would appreciate the one-on-one experience. I find it more powerful when done in a group. And I have some group coaching, which I will leave with you. I'm not really going to go through the details of that. I might go through a little bit more detail tomorrow if anybody is interested. But really what I'm looking for is I'm looking to see if you are committed to the process. It takes 3 to 6 months really to get this information down. I want you to consider that. And with the coaching, I have the ability with this particular group to keep costs down a little bit if you want to do a group session. But like I said, I'm interested in whether or not you're all in. So my request and my homework piece for yesterday was make sure that you're personal messaging me if any of these things are of interest to you, and I'm glad to have a discussion with you about that. Now, today, the summit attempt. So I am going to X out of this for a second. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do. I'm going to go to my sketchbook. I need to get rid of the image that's in here. New. New. Apparently I was scribbling all over this yesterday. want to see if I can pull you guys up at the same time. Okay, I'm going to put you guys over here. And you guys cannot see my screen yet, can you? Can you guys see my screen?
No.
You cannot. Okay. That doesn't help. I need you guys to actually see my screen. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. If you haven't done this already, I'm going to do a little bit of a review of day one. So day one, we took information, and we took information from body. We took information from being or fulfillment. Pardon my scribble, you guys. We took information from our relationships. Took information from our biz, our money, okay? And we did the now, and we did the 1 year, okay? The now part, we looked at our fruit, which are our current results. We looked at our feelings about all of these pieces. We looked at what we've been focusing on, what have been our patterns, habits, and behaviors, and then we looked at our facts. And that is what is working and what is not working. Okay? Out of the fruit, a year forwards, we looked at where do we want our each of the categories to be. We looked at the feelings about what that would look like when we hit them. We looked at the working and not working. Created a list for us in the 1 year. Okay, this list is going to be the things that are working we're going to leverage. So I'll give you an example with respect to my my body. Okay, so I'm going to leverage my training schedule. My training schedule is non-negotiable. It's been fairly consistent now for about 2 years. The only thing I do is I add the length, intensity, and I change up exactly what I do during those things. Obviously, as the days get a little bit longer, it opens up the door to a little bit more training for me. What else is working within body is I organize my meals on Sundays, Sunday meal prep. And I'm not going to go through my entire list, but I'll go through a couple more. Other things are my coaches for kickboxing, so coaches and accountability teams. Okay, the not working has been particularly this last little while. I did not have a strong challenge for body, so I need a focused challenge, which I've already done. I've already done this work for the next quarter. And anyway, what I want you to do with yours is I want you to make a list of all the things that are not working. Those are going to turn into things that you're going to learn, study, or you're going to acquire information about. This is going to create this list here, you guys, in each of your categories of to-dos. Now, the work for today is going to be in each body, the being, the relationships, and the business. You're going to look at this list that you have come up with, okay, And this is going to be your focus. It's going to create your focus. If you looked at each list that you've created and you picked one thing from that box that is going to have the single biggest impact on getting you closer to the fruit of where you want to be in a year, it is going to be your challenge. Now, if you pick something you think you can get through in a week, you're probably picking the wrong thing. If you pick something you think that will be done in a month, again, probably picking the wrong thing. I want you to pick the thing that when you do this is going to move you the furthest along your challenge. And it should feel maybe even a little bit scary, a little bit like, really? Can I do that? Again, for body, for me, the first quarter, October, after I do my all of my races in June, July, and all of my big physical challenges, I start shutting down and I go into strength mode. So typically between August and December, I'll put on about 20 to 25 pounds. And most of that, yes, certainly some of that is because I'm not doing nearly as much cardio, but I'm also in the gym 3 times a week. So my physique changes radically from season to season. And now, starting when the light starts to get a little bit more, now it's time for my cardio to come back up. And the end of March, beginning of April, I usually do a short running race, which couples with my hiking that Tracy and I do, and our big focus this year again is the Kusam Climb, which is a 23-kilometer mountain race up north of Campbell River. Last year we did it fully packed in preparation for a summit attempt to Mount Rainier. This year we're doing it with running shoes and no gear. It's a different challenge, but just something to keep us really, really focused, and we're both focused on that. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick the single biggest thing that you got on that list, and then I'm going to show you how to run this now. One of the things that I want each of you guys to consider doing is, so I'm going to use my example. So I've got it's a 6-kilometer race, April 4th, I believe. Okay. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to write down 8 things that need to be accomplished. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In order for me to hit this. Okay. So I'm going to write down, make sure that I've got my training schedule down. Okay. I'm going to make sure that I've got my rest and recovery schedule. I want to make sure that I've got my eating changed. My diet plan, I'm going to make sure that one of those days I'm doing this with my coach. There's a couple of other things that I've gotten written in, but this is called reverse engineering. I want you to consider looking at it could be 5 things. It could be 12 things. But 8 is kind of the sweet spot. And this is going to be your urgent list. So I'll show you what that means. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to just create a new page here. Does anybody need anything off my scribble? You guys are good? Okay, so now when you have these lists for each category, this is why we need a journal to do this work. What I'm going to show you now is how to do a weekly general sentence. Set yourself up for the week so that everything is clear and organized for you, okay? So the first thing I do is a return and report, okay, an R&R, and I will do this on all of my stats for my business, all your stats, everything you did for your body, everything you did in your being category, everything you did for balance. And essentially, when you've nailed this for the week, this becomes what I call a brag journal. It becomes a reminder of what you've accomplished. Because there's times where I get through a week and I don't feel like I've gotten nearly as much traction as I'd like. That can cause you to drift. It can cause you to steam off course. And when you read back everything that you've accomplished that's been aligned with the directions that you're going, it's a really solid reminder that you're on course. I want each of you guys to consider that, okay? And if there's something you didn't do, okay, no shame, no guilt, back on course. It's just a reminder to get back on, okay? This is done every week though, you guys, every single week, okay? Next thing I do is I always remind myself of the process that I'm on. So I look to make sure that the code is good. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. I look to make sure my engine is good. How did my core 4 go? Because again, if you're slipping on the core 4, I wouldn't even go further up the mountain. I wouldn't even take any of the other information. If you're struggling to get the core 4 down, your engine is going to sputter. Okay? So if you're not getting daily habits for your body, daily habits for relationships, all the little simple things, it's really difficult to get any further up the mountain because there will be little fires that will be lit and you'll just continue to slide back down the mountain and you'll wonder why you never really get anywhere. Okay? The third part is the fuel. Okay? I know hundreds of people that I've spoken to that are like, I know who I am, I know what my values are, I know where I'm going in life, blah, 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 but they're really not. It's a resistance to doing the work. The clearer you are on this, the better that it is. So down here, underneath this, I write out what my values are: adventure, accomplishment, inclusion, edge, and I write out my mission statement. Writing out the mission statement less than once a week will cause you to drift. That has been my experience with everyone that I work with. So to develop and deliver extraordinary life strategy for successful business parents in the midlife triangle of chaos who are experiencing burnout, overwhelm, anxiety, frustration, even just a sense of being lost or can't find their way, but want to thrive and are ready to take courageous action on it. Well, that is my mission. I'm ready to work with these people. That's what I do. And I write that out every week. Okay. 4 is making sure, again, this is just going through the whole steps of the freedom formula. I look at my weekly habits or my base camp. I look at my Sherpa. So I look at my daily work and the revelations that have come out and the actions that have come out of that. You got to remember, when you do the work with the app, it will give you an additional action set every time you do it. So it helps you to get back online. It helps you to work through stuff that's getting in your way. But it's important because when we're not working on all these things that piss us off or challenges that get in our way, emotions that come up, other things that seem out of our control, again, it just nudges us off the summit attempt, okay? Then the base camp, look at your previous week's interactions with your kids, with your partner, with yourself. Can't tell you how many people I meet that are burning themselves out. They don't even have kids. And they're burning themselves out, running themselves ragged because they're not filling themselves back up. And I want you to consider that not having an abundant amount of energy to be able to serve or provide doesn't help anyone. So that base camp habit is really important. And again, the drift is what we're talking a lot about today. Just really making sure that you're on par, making sure that you've either got the appropriate accountability and coaches. I'm constantly assessing, is this working for me, right? And then of course today is what we're talking about up here. So I use this just to go back and I do a little bit of a check-in on, am I on the right course every single week? And then when I go to the other page, this is how my journal looks. And no, it's not as scribbly as my computer pen is. At the top of my next page, I actually write what my 90-day focus is for my body. Okay, so mine is a 6K run. Being, I have 3 events that I'm coordinating, and the launch of my app. I've got other things that are coming down the pipeline as well, as far as writing my book and other things, just to help to simplify this. Balance. I have 2 big dates that I've already got organized with Tracy, one with the kids, and there's the weekly stuff. I'm not talking about Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Those are already set in stone for me, the kids, and Tracy. These are 3 big ones. They know the dates. They don't know what I'm doing with them. That's part of the base camp and how we set that up. So for me, again, if I didn't make this clear, when I do my my base camp every 3 months, I sit down and Tracy and I each have 1 date per month that we organize. So this is RD. She is one that she organizes. We have 1 massage and we have 1 float. So I only have to organize 1 date per month, and I organize it, I pay for it, and I orchestrate it 3 months in advance. Because the last thing I want to do is the week of decide on it, panically put things together, organize everything else. And I don't tell her what I'm doing. That way it keeps things sharp. And she doesn't tell me what she's doing. So I can just show up for that date, and it's fun and it's entertaining, and it kind of keeps things nice and fun. Okay. So I've got all of these already organized and set up. I just remind myself of when they are in this. As far as business is concerned, okay. So business is more strategic for me. I've got a bunch of stuff going on within my own office right now that I have that I'm working through, and I've got a huge strategic financial plan and a coach I'm working with right now. And so this is a big one for me this term. Okay, you guys getting that so far? Okay. Then what I do is I write down, this is setting up my core 4 for the week. Body, being, balance, biz. So I look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay. So just for example, I'm just using body because it's simple to eat and easy to write it out. But body is chest at the gym, kickboxing in the evening, push-ups on Tuesday, gym, and then hike with Tracy in the evening. Thursday is swim and dad's fight club. Friday is push-ups, push-up challenge. Saturday is also push-up challenge, and then Sunday is back to the gym with sprints, which is what I'm going to do as soon as we're finished here. Okay, and I write out each of these areas so they're already tuned out. I know when my dates are. I already have them organized because I've done the work. I have all my different coaching sessions, the meetings I have with setting up my app, everything that's aligned with being with business. So with business, now, down at the bottom here, this is where I keep my list. It's a running list of everything we've just gone through with day 1. So I've got this whole list of pending things that I'm doing based off of my list from working and not working that have created what I'm leveraging and learning. They all sit in this pending list. And then what I do, if anybody has read Stephen Covey's the 7 habits of I think it's 7 habits of effective people, you will want to start to day by day or week by week pull some of these things that are important. These are all important to you, but they're not urgent. And you're going to start to pull things from your list over to urgent. Once you've made those urgent, you are now committing yourself to doing those things. So what I do with business is I choose one of these things. So here's my one thing right here. One thing. If anybody's ever read the book, it's hugely powerful. Okay.
Mm.
And then I usually have the 4 things I need to do in order to get that done. Now, here's what happens to me on a regular basis, and this is why I reiterate this so often. I'll sit here, I will decide on the one thing, and then I'm like, what I also want this thing, it comes up into here, and I want this thing, and it comes up into here, and I might get half of them done. I want you to consider, choose the one thing and stick to it for this week. It will feel like you're not getting as much done. It will actually feel like you're getting less traction. But if you just ensure that you get it done, I want you to consider that you're going to get more traction just by this exercise than anything else. And then at the end of when you flip it and do this the following week, you can sit there and literally this is what I do, you guys. This is how like simple it is. I sit there and I go, I did my chest and my kickboxing, my push-ups and my, and you'll see like I'll check this all off. And again, it serves to form an amazing brag journal. Okay. So the challenge then becomes every week writing this out. And again, staying focused on your targets. Every week just choosing one thing. Every week writing out your values and your mission statement and making sure that you're staying lethally on target in these areas. And again, as you start to repeat these patterns and you go through this, you start to see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And ultimately, I want you to consider that you have the ability to end up with the creation of a week that works wonderfully for you. And every week, you're just going to course correct a little bit more. And every quarter, 2 things typically happen. I like to have some form of celebration, some form of acknowledgement of the work that I've done. And I spend an entire weekend with Tracy doing this, like doing the work that you guys have just gone through this week. I sit down and I go through that entire fact map and redo it because things change. And I find that most people, the comments and the stories that I get are, I got it, I'll do it, but I don't. And then as each step gets weaker and weaker and weaker, everybody's back to their old patterns, their old behaviors, their old ways. So the power of the freedom formula, you guys, is in doing and executing the work. Each step, and let me flip back to, this for a sec. Let me flip back. So each step is created to build basically upon the other. And when you do the work, it is exceptional, the results. But it takes getting a little organized and committing to kind of being organized around these things. Just like a diet and committing to it, it takes just being very, very committed to it. Sherry, how are you doing with it all?
I'm good. The one thing I find a bit hard as a single person is choosing the relationships. Like I don't have problems connecting with people, but I have to be honest, my life sometimes just gets busy and it's, it's not that I don't see people, I do, but I'm not as intentional as I could be.
Right. So that's where you're going to choose that within your balance.
Yeah.
So when you do this work, you're going to choose exactly who you are going to focus your time and energy on. It could be within your work. It could be a niece, a nephew, somebody like that. If you're constantly just trying to juggle it, I want you to consider that a mom of two young children that also has a spouse and a business to run.
I don't know how they do it.
That's
Yeah.
why we do this work.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I mean, because I work with families and I see them in constant crisis, I take my hat off to people that do it well.
I know, and this is the whole reason why I say that I this isn't to exclude you in any way. That this is really the work that a parent that is doing it all really needs, because it's easy to just try to hold everything in your head, and you're balancing and you're making decisions in the moment at all times, and it's just not possible. It leads to crisis. It leads to destruction. It leads to immediate gratification. And I'm not saying I'm not susceptible to immediate gratification. I mean, the reality of it is that's a very human thing. But the more organized we are, the more focused we are, the more that we have to give to our children. If if you are single and you've got that abundant time that you're not being taken up, taking care of kids and managing other relationships that are there, then this gives you a wonderful opportunity to use and invest that abundant time that we don't have to be able to focus on really growing something that you currently don't have. But one of the things I think that I see, Sherry, that most people don't do, I think you do as well. But a lot of people have a tendency not to really build that relationship that they have with themselves. So I know that you've got a tremendous relationship with God. I know that you got a tremendous relationship with your coworkers. There's lots that you have really spent a lot of time on building. That's like most people just don't have that.
Mhm.
But that relationship with self and really getting clear, crystal clear on how you refuel your engine. I mean, the mother's martyrdom is it's a thing. I mean, women. I'm not saying women. Women is the wrong word, but I would say the female breakdown system is I'm going to give it to everyone else around me. And then as I completely deplete my stores, I'm going to blame and resent everyone.
Mhm.
It's the
I'm just
burnout. It's the
I'm
burnout
just as
pattern.
susceptible as a mother
I know
because
you are, because you mother thousands of people.
yeah, yeah.
Look at. There's no surprise that the career that you've chosen, Sherry,
Mhm.
is that way. You have just as strong a maternal instinct as anyone else does,
Yeah, I
and
do.
you just have a bigger families. That's
Mhm.
it. Like you have a bigger family than the close unit of a man and a woman and their two children or whatever. You have a way bigger family, and that's the capacity that you've chosen to kind of step into. So it's it's amazing to watch how you've just taken that and applied it in a different fashion. And that's why you have to be not you have to. I want you to consider that protecting your energy and doing this type of work is essential so that you have the ability to provide and give the energy that those families need.
Yeah, thank
Right?
you.
Oh,
That's
you're
true.
welcome. Oh, well, listen, I can write a book on burning it to the ground and burning it down and almost losing everything. So I recognized a long time ago that if I'm not fueling myself back up, and the big word selfish, the guilt and the shame of doing things that are selfish. This word selfish, it triggers me just saying it. The reality of it is selfishness is mandatory if you plan on helping others.
Mhm.
It's not a bad word. It's not a how dare you. It's a yes, I am doing this. Yes, I my cup needs to be filled back up. And in relationships, that becomes a focal point of communication as well. is making sure that each cup is being filled back up. And the more that, I mean, obviously it would be amazing if everybody could apply their values and their mission statement solely to the work that they do, which is why, I mean, if you look at my values and my mission statement, it is 100% aligned with this work that I'm doing here. It's partially and mostly related to the chiropractic work that I do. But it would be nice if everybody was 100% aligned. That's not always the case. So when we do things that are outside of our values or off of our mission, we can all do that for periods of time, but it will consume our energy as opposed to giving us energy. And that's another thing that's really important. Aligned work somewhere is really, really, really key. Any other questions from you at this time, Sherry?
I do.
Sure.
So it's around exercise in my body. Like I'm not really capable of doing a race or, those kinds of things. So how do I transpose that into some kind of goal? Or
Great
like,
question.
okay.
Great question. Let's do this. Let's get this out. Nope. Bye-bye. Okay. So let's just look at body, for example. Okay. If you're willing to step into this a little bit, I'll help you with this.
Okay.
Okay. So right now, what's working as far as your habits, behaviors, patterns, and results within your body?
Okay. So I have like I kind of took a bit of a hiatus from the gym, which wasn't good. That wasn't working. But I'm now back and so I actually rearranged like, and this is as a result of this, like, the level of fitness that I'm at, I need this certain class at my gym, and it's not at a good time. Like it's at 12:30, which means I need to take an hour and 3/4 off in order to go. And so that was a challenge. So I'm at my second crack at it. This time I've got my favorite trainer I've ever used, so that really helps. And I'm so I'm going to be going into work earlier because it doesn't work for me to work till 6 o'clock. I'm too tired by then. So so I'm doing that twice a week, and then I was going to do cardio 4 times a week. I still got to figure out that last one. My body, like yesterday, I did 22 minutes of cardio. Then I went to Costco. So that's walking. Plus then I went shopping. I thought I was going to die when I came home. And I know for somebody your age, that doesn't sound that much. But for me, it was like, okay, I'm done. So I kind of need some kind of rest somewhere, right? So I haven't really, like, am I going to do like a Pilates type workout? But I don't know that I can go to do cardio 5 days a week on top of.
Okay.
So I don't know. It'll be 4 to 5, I guess.
Okay. Anything else that's working?
Well, food, I keep switching between keto and then, like just eating a balanced green type diet. And yeah, I'm unfocused. And my massage therapist, who also has her doctor in Chinese medicine, she got me doing this rice with probiotics in it. And I do think it is a really healing thing, but then it slows up my progress. She says I will lose weight with it, but I don't know. I'm so into not eating a lot of carbs that I just can't make up my mind. So then I'm in an indecision.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. Anything else that's working?
My body. Can't really think of anything else.
Okay. So I mean, this is part of the work that we do in that day one is just writing out what's working and what's not working, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to leverage all this. Okay. So
Okay.
we're gonna make sure that we do whatever you can to make those days where the good trainer is on.
Yeah.
because we know that works for us.
Yeah.
We're gonna make sure we hit this twice a week. We're gonna make sure that we've got a schedule of 4 times a week for cardio. We're just gonna leverage what's working. Now over here, the hiatus from the gym, that needs to be dealt with. Okay. So
Mhm.
we need to look at, well, what caused the hiatus from the gym? We need to look at, are there any actions we can take to hold us on point from missing gym and massage and chiro and those types of things that are kind of have been a focus for you, and we want to make sure that we create a schedule around those things. Okay, that's an
Okay.
action step. Okay,
Okay.
the timing of the programs. Now you can't necessarily change the timing of the programs, but if you're looking to keep your schedules and you need them to work better for you, well, logically, this is a project. This becomes something you need to learn, change, strategize, either at your current gym, another gym, somewhere else. It becomes a project for you to get these done in a different way. I don't have the answers for you. We've
Well,
looked at that in the past, right?
yeah. So what my strategy is to go into work at 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I often end up doing overtime anyhow. So that will solve the problem as long as I get to work by 8.
I got
So
it. I got
yeah.
it. So that
On those
then,
days, I don't have to do it every day. It's not, you know what? It's just, I had to think, okay, how do I make this work instead of it's not at the right time. Like I had to shift my focus.
that's it.
Yeah.
So it becomes an actual project to make it work is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Endurance, endurance is a slow thing. So if you're wanting to increase your endurance, yes, there's an age factor, Sherry, but I want you to remember that if you want to increase your endurance, that is an exercise and that's a practice that you can work on as well. Okay.
So, okay. So by increasing the length of my cardio over time, will that increase my endurance?
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, if you want to look at age-related endurance, it's going to
Yeah.
be how is your cardio, how is your food, how is your rest, how's your recovery.
Okay.
So all those things become a strategy that you can look at. And let's just say that you look at all the different things on your list and you go, I want to increase my endurance. Like I want more energy by the end of this 3 months. That becomes your target. So that is your target. And then we have to look at all the different things that we need to do. So you
Hmm.
need to make sure that you're looking at sleep. You need to make sure that you're looking at your cardio. Make sure that your diet is dialed in so you're not putting carbs that are spiking your sugar into your diet, etc. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Rest schedule seems to be something that's actually important for you.
Hmm.
I would highly look at scheduling these things. But here's the thing: we go through work, and then all of a sudden we've got these things scheduled into our week, and then we're like, oh, but there's this crisis happening. Oh, but there's this other thing happening. Oh, I'm just going to fit this in. I'm going to fit this in. And what we do is we actually let our values go. We
Hmm.
let our mission go. We let what's important to us go. I want you to consider that that can't ever happen.
Okay.
I see the crisis happening. I need to take care of me. This is
Hmm.
where prioritizing you becomes really, really important.
Yeah.
I can be bad at that because um, I have a tendency to micromanage and carry far too much on my plate. And I will sometimes let go of my things. And then when I'm completely overwhelmed and overburdened, everyone around me suffers. And I have to remind myself, no, I actually need to take those breaks. Unfocused diet. Well, this is where, doing one of the challenges or doing something like that is really important. If I don't have a challenge either, I'm like, I'm doing paleo this month. And then all of a sudden I'm having a bowl of cereal. I'm like, why am I doing that? Like if I don't have a challenge that's in front of me, I too can drift. This is where each category, the more that you can remain focused and you have a team and you have an accountability to kind of doing the work. You know what it was like when we did the 30-day health habit challenge, when there was a group of us in there that was doing it. Everybody's posting, everybody's encouraging, everybody's actually getting like for at least 30 days, people are doing the work.
Hmm.
All right. And then as soon as people dripped off, everyone's like, I got it now. I got it. I'm good. Right. Within 2 months, I can't believe it. Everybody's back to doing exactly what they did before the 30-day challenge. Back to the exact patterns with maybe one or two things that have been implemented.
Hmm.
It really just comes down to being focused and having the kind of the team to kind of challenge you in that direction.
I
So
don't know that I'll ever. Okay, I know I can get better, so don't take me wrong, but I actually think most people need accountability
yep,
and some kind of coach in order to keep on
I
track.
I agree. Yep. Any area that I'm working to improve on or grow, I always have a coach. Yep. And that's why the drift is there. That's why I'm offering the help within this as well. Okay. Has this helped, Sherry, just for you to write this out and kind of look at it?
Yes, it does. And so I don't necessarily need a race or anything like that. Just a
No,
goal maybe in mind of what I want to accomplish in 90
totally.
days. Okay.
Totally. Yeah, when you do this work, it becomes more obvious to you what your 90-day challenges are and what the work is that needs to be done, and then it gets brought week by week into your. I call it a general's tent, just because it's the language that we use in Warrior, but it's basically your weekly accountability and weekly um, kind of strategy session with
Mhm.
yourself. And I keep it in my handheld journal, and I just open it up and I go, what am I focusing on again? Ah, here it is. There's my values, my mission statement, my 90-day targets, and all my things that are urgent and pending. And everything else, I can, if something else comes in that's too seriously urgent or whatnot, I can throw it into the schedule, but it's really important to try to stay focused.
So you said we needed to, do we just need to post when we're done, or do we need to post all this detail? I was confused about that.
Now, nobody's going to read your details, Sherry, at this level of the game. Just post that you've done the work.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So ultimately the homework for today, so we're running a little bit long for today, but the homework for today is to use the work that we've all done in day one, come up with your lists, and decide on the single thing that when you do this, will have the single biggest impact on moving you forwards towards your 1 year target in each area. And decide with body, with being, with balance, or with business, or just even with what we do here, decide where you need assistance with coaching, with mentoring, with whatever it is. I will reiterate really quickly, and I will go through this tomorrow. So if anybody's really confused about, well, I'd kind of like to stay involved with this. I want to stay doing this. I will dive more into this tomorrow, and at 5 p.m. I'll go through this to make sure you guys are really clear. I'm still working with my team to get that app up. Everybody will get an opportunity to try the app and the Patriot Missile game. Okay, but just to reiterate the main. Let me just see if I got it on here. I have it in here. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, so really, I don't encourage everybody to do this, but you've gotten some of the skills and the tools, and I hope that this has helped everybody. So you by all means at least do it on your own and do some of the work. If you're wanting more assistance just through what it is that we do, yeah, I hope that some of you guys eventually, and some of you that aren't in the program right now that are listening to this on a replay, consider doing the Men and Women of Iron events. They're not easy, but they are full out. They're the full experience of the full meal deal. For those of you that don't want to go through that level of challenge, or a lot of people that are in this challenge right now aren't local. We've got people that are in this challenge right now that are from Chicago and from California, and sometimes we don't want to travel or dive into anything else. I've got one-on-one and group coaching, and one-on-one, like I said, is great. Sometimes it sounds appealing. If that's what you want, I can organize one-on-one coaching. I find that it works better as a group. I just think that there's a little bit more accountability. We have a tendency to get a little bit better result when we're doing it as a unit. And again, when I'm doing some of the higher level coaching, it can be about $3,000 a month. Group coaching is generally about $1,000 a month. For this group in particular, if you're going through this right now, right at the moment, I won't, that's not my intention is to do this, because you haven't been through a men or a women of iron experience and haven't done all that work. So if you want some of the coaching and you want to meet on a weekly basis with a small pod or one-on-one with me, we can do that. But you have to let me know here by Wednesday that that's something you want to do, and then I can give you more of the details on that. I would love a group of you if you guys want to participate. I would love to see you guys thrive this year, and I'd be honored to kind of take you through that process. But like I said, several of you have already reached out, and I will be going through more of the details. Probably tomorrow I'll go through more of the details in that. But before I do any of that, I just want to make sure that there's enough of you that are wanting to participate in that, so that I can look at strategizing, putting a day of the week together, so that we can do weekly coaching and strategy sessions. Okay. Any other questions? Caroline, I see you down there. How are you doing? Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. How are you doing?
Okay. Pretty good for the
Good.
most part. I've had a crazy few days, so I'm just trying to get caught up on everything.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions at all? Are you good?
No, I'm good, but I definitely, like with Sherry saying that she doesn't have, you know, the kids and like I'm in the same boat. It's just my husband and I and our dog. But I feel like I do, like my sister, I was with my sister yesterday at swimming lessons, and she's got the 2 kids, and it's like, I don't know how you do it. It's a lot. So
yeah, and like I said, it's if you don't have that, don't worry about it. You can choose.
yeah,
You can choose a nephew or a niece or somebody that's important to you, or you can just choose, you know, even somebody that you work with. If you're trying to grow a business team or something like that, it can be just to grow that relationship. The reality of it is it's just having focus.
yeah, totally.
That's it. And I think that when I'm not telling everybody to go find an additional relationship to build. That's not necessarily what I'm doing. But for those of you that are already in it, which is why I call it the midlife triangle of chaos, is that if you have the additional things of a husband or a spouse, a partner, significant other, and or kids, it just all it does is it adds complexity. And that's why
For
being
sure.
organized. That's why being organized around each of those relationships is important. If the kids aren't there, just ignore that part of it. That's not necessary. If the relationship isn't there, some of the men that I work with in Men of Iron are going through divorces and some pretty difficult times, and um, getting them to focus back on themselves has been the key, because so many of them want they want the external validation and the love that a woman or a partner provides, and I have to often remind them that it's more attractive to almost everyone when you're in love first with who you are and what it is that you do, and you have an energy to be able to provide. And oftentimes we get lost in that process. So that's part of the process, is to build up relationship with self, and to be really confident with that first. Because just going and running around building relationships at random without intention, without being clear on you first, can get you pretty lost. So yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
don't force any additional relationships. That's not the goal of it. And yeah, we all have stories about how busy we are.
For sure.
And men and women of iron, when we do it, we challenge you so much, but everybody gets the work done. And you wonder, how the heck did I get it all done? And then you actually see what your capacity limits really are, and then you can start to refine things. We all think we're busy until we add like 10 times the amount of work. And then we realize oh my God, I could do that? No way. I could actually do that. But we all want to tell ourselves stories about the fact that we're busy right now. None of us in this group right now are busy. It feels like it is because we'll tell ourselves that. None of us are busy. We just create busyness. It's amazing. Every time I say that, everybody's like, oh no, hell no, I'm going to tell you how I'm busy. I know. I do the same thing. Trust me, everybody in this group can do at least twice as much as what you're doing right now. But it's a matter of prioritizing what it is that's actually within that. And again, I say that as a generalized statement because you can't see that unless you actually see what everybody here has a far bigger capacity than you think. It's just a matter of doing more and more of those things aligned with who you are. Because when you do more and more things aligned with who you are, the energy is endless. Every time we subjugate ourselves to someone else's values and somebody else's mission, i.e. work we don't want to do, it will exhaust us and it'll actually take us down the rabbit hole. Okay. Carol Ann, anything else? Any other questions at the moment?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Ben, thank you for the question I see in the chat. Anything else that you can think of?
Yeah, I just, I'm really feeling connected to, I have to plan my week. You know, I've been doing that more and more with diet and nutrition, so I'm really feeling the importance of organizing my plan, my strategies, you know, what's happening this week, because as a mom with 2 kids and no family and all that jazz, right? Like, there's realities around our schedule, right? And the only way that I'm going to be able to accomplish my goals is to make sure I plan on Sunday. Right? Like I was just about to spiel like, well, John's leaving tomorrow, which he is, so I'm single momming for the next 10 days, right?
Yep.
Which is a super intense time. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to put everything aside and I'll pick it all back up after. I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be like that. I can still figure that out. Not the full meal deal of what I can do when my husband's around, right? But I can still tick my core 4 if I plan ahead. Yep. If I have a strategy and a plan that I can like throw together today, it doesn't have to be complicated, but just to feel that instead of like that all or nothing, because I can't do all of what I want to do, therefore I won't do any of it, which I wouldn't. I'm not really that way anyway, but you know, I'm like, okay, well, I just need to take a few minutes and sort this shit out, and then I'll be good for the week, and I'll feel accomplished. I'll feel more grounded, and I can do this. I can take care of the kids all week. I can do all the things that need to be done. You know, I can make that happen and take care of me.
That's it. Right? And if you have a day that doesn't work the way that it is, the drift happens to us all. Right. We'll get knocked off course, and we'll feel defeated.
So that'll be like every day won't go the way I want it to go. But, you know.
And all it is about making the next day and the next week, the next month, and the next quarter a little bit better. It's not about being perfect at this. Like,
it's so easy. The excuses are like right there. They just fly out. It's like, oh, I can't this week because right? And it sounds so real.
Yep.
Right? I'm like, well, that's a legitimate excuse, you know? Like, I'm single parenting all by myself for 10 days. Like, I can't do this right now.
Yep.
Right? Like, wow.
Amazing. It's amazing how it crawls in, but good for you.
That's
it's awesome. Okay. Any other questions, you guys?
No, I just have a comment. This was exceedingly helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. And if you guys do have any questions about the work, if you have any questions about how to continue, or if you would appreciate participating in any of the groups, tomorrow is a great time for that. Depending on how many of you guys show up, I can get into more details about that if anybody has questions.
I can't come tomorrow. I cannot be there at 5 tomorrow, but I would love to do group work. So.
Okay. Yeah, you've already contacted me, so there's a few more of you guys. I'm just going to go through more of the details, Jen.
Okay, cool. Okay. But I won't be there. There's no way. That's a reality.
How dare you?
I know, right? I could, but great peril.
Okay, guys,
Okay.
have a wonderful remainder of your weekend, and bye for now.
Bye.